Texas Tech has announced that they have signed their head basketball coach, Grant McCasland, to an extension through the 2030-2031 season. In today's video, we'll discuss how we got here, why this is so pivotal for Texas Tech, and how Grant McCasland, well, he's here for the long haul. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And if you're excited to hear about Grant McCasland getting yet another extension to be the Texas Tech head men's basketball coach, all I'm going to ask you to do is simply like the video. All right, let's just jump right into it. You see it on your screen right there. This from Texas Tech men's basketball Twitter account, officially signed. Grant McCasland has signed a contract extension through the 2030-2031 season. And now, truthfully, this shouldn't be a surprise, right? We think about this offseason and how it's kind of been for Texas Tech. There was that brief period where, Texas A&M didn't have a head coach. Could Grant McCasland go down there and be the Aggies head coach? The answer was an unequivocal hell no, as Grant McCasland seemingly laughed at the Aggies to even propose that he would leave Lubbock, Texas to go down to that hellhole that is known as College Station. Instead, we knew a contract extension was coming. We don't have the details yet, but it has officially been announced on Monday, May 19th, 2025. And this is huge for Texas Tech from the standpoint of this. Grant McCasland has already gotten one extension as the Texas Tech head basketball coach. I think people forget about that. Last year, when he led the Red Raiders to the NCAA tournament in his first season, he got an extension. He gets yet another one. And to be honest with you, this is just modern college basketball. When you find your guy, you're just having to increase resources or increase his salary year after year. It's just kind of how it is now in this modern landscape. Now, is it going to change long term? Like anything in the world? Probably. Will it change for better or worse? I don't know. We'll find out. But I do know one thing for sure in terms of the better. Grant McCasland makes Texas Tech men's basketball better. And to have a guy that has laid the foundation and has been uber successful in his first 2 years out in Lubbock, again, made the NCAA tournament a year after just a tumultuous, just dog you-know-what year out in the 806, the final year of Mark Adams as the head coach. He comes in, takes this team from really landing a few guys in the portal, most notably D5 and Chance McMillan, makes them an NCAA tournament team, retains some of those guys, goes out and gets a guy like JT Toppin, another guy in Elijah Hawkins, right, in CA in terms of the high school ranks. Not to mention, he goes out and he really creates one of the best coaching staffs in college basketball. How good is it? Well, he was getting picked left and right in terms of guys off of his staff. And that tells you really all you need to know, whether that was Dave Smart, leaving for Pacific, whether that's Luke Bauer down at SFA now. These guys are leaving for bigger and better jobs, and he started a tree. And that's something that a lot of people don't talk about, but that just shows that he has an eye for identifying not only talent that's going to play on the court, but also the talent that's going to coach that said group on the floor. I mean, Jeff Linder, one of the best coaches of guards in the country, came to Texas Tech because of his connection with McCasland. There's numerous others as well. This is obviously big for Texas Tech from the continuity standpoint, and having that guy there, it would not shock me at all when the numbers come out. We don't have them at the time of this recording, but I'm sure we'll have them in the not too distant future. If Grant McCasland isn't really a top 15, top 10 paid coach in all of college basketball, right? When you think about Texas Tech right now in the current landscape of collegiate athletics, like Texas Tech is at the forefront in terms of not only NIL, but resources. And it would not shock me at all if Grant McCasland got a raise. Probably deserves one after the year that they had out in the 806, going to the Elite Eight. But also if he got, a little bit more pool money for his coaches, right? If he got some assurances when it comes to NIL, right? There's a lot going into this. It's not just, he got a raise, good for him, he deserved it kind of thing. There's a lot more to this in terms of the coaches pool, as I mentioned, NIL, getting a raise for yourself, this, that, and the other. But there's a lot of things under that umbrella, and I'm sure Grant McCasland and crew got that. But the biggest thing for me in terms of what this means for Texas Tech is the sense that you retain one of the best coaches in all of college basketball. Now, again, he already had an extension through the late 2020s in terms of staying out in the 806, but it's huge in terms of, okay, now you get an additional year or two onto his already contract extension from year number one, but he's proved it, right? I know there's a lot of Texas Tech fans out there in the sense of, prime example, Cliff Kingsbury out in football. I understand the two are different, but you have 1 year of success and then you give somebody an extension and it kind of hits the fan, right? Well, that's not the case with Grant McCasland. Grant McCasland is one of the best coaches in all of college basketball, and he's proven that time and time again. So for me, this means you have that continuity. You can build upon that foundation that's already been well established due to his first 2 years out in the 806, right? Maybe he gets another donkey or two. If you know, you know. That's kind of cool. I hope for the McCasland crew they do. It seems like they're into that kind of thing, and who can knock them for that, right? But the thing for Texas Tech is, again, there's a lot of fear, I understand, from previous things that have happened, but this feels like a new age in Texas Tech in terms of Texas Tech men's basketball specifically. Grant McCasland was a home run hire the minute that he was announced as the guy. And remember, you had to wait a little bit if you were a Texas Tech fan for Grant McCasland to be confirmed as the hire because he, coached UNT, the Mean Green, throughout their whole postseason in terms of going out and winning one of those non-NCAA tournaments out there in Vegas. And then he comes in and he instantly wins for Texas Tech. But the biggest thing, again, for me and what this means for Texas Tech moving forward is twofold. Obviously, the foundation, growing upon that, but getting more resources into this program, because when you have a guy like Grant McCasland and he has proven that he can win with what he had, and it wasn't limited, right? But if you want to take him to that promised land, and that's what he's trying to do, right? Which is cutting down the nets on that final Monday, right? You have to instill those resources into the program. You've got the right guy. You've got the right guy around him. You've got the right leadership in terms of the AD and everything like that, and the understanding from the donors, hey, we have to pour money into this if we want to get there. Now you have that assurance if you're Grant McCasland, and that will help Texas Tech continuously be at the top of the Big 12 and be contenders not only in the Big 12 conference, but to make the Final Four and have a chance to cut down those nets wherever it may be across the country in the NCAA tournament. But again, the big news in Texas Tech men's basketball, Grant McCasland agrees to an extension and has since signed an extension to be the Texas Tech head men's basketball coach through the 2030-2031 season out in the 806. Grant the man. You love it. Irving, Texas finest. Definitely not biased or anything on my part when it comes to Irving coaches or anything like that. If you know, you know. Again, if you're excited about Grant McCasland signing an extension to be the Red Raiders head coach, all I'm going to ask you to do is simply like the video. And hey, we have 100% free content surrounding your Texas Tech Red Raiders on the hardwood or the gridiron right here on the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube in the Back to 12 podcast channel. I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, as always, to stay safe and Wreck 'em Tech.